Hi, welcome to my kitchen again. I was on the phone the other day with a friend of mine who actually didn't know that you can freeze some dairy. So I thought I'd share this with everybody just in case someone's not aware that you can do it and how to do it. So come back here with me. First we're going to talk about milk. A few weeks ago in our store, milk went from, well, way back it went up to almost $5 a gallon. Then suddenly we had this great sale and it was down to $2 a gallon. Well, we drink a lot of milk in our house, use it in a lot of recipes. So I decided to go get some. You could get 2 per visit. So I went in every day that I went into town and got milk. But you can freeze milk and use it at a later date. All you have to do is when you bring it home, take your milk and open it up. Pour a full glass, at least 8 ounces, so that your milk container's down this far. Put the lid on loosely, don't do it really tight, just leave a little bit of just finger tight. Stick it down in your deep freeze and freeze it. Now, when you're ready to use it, 2 things you need to do. Of course, thaw it out in the refrigerator, and you need to make sure that you screw the lid on tight as it thaws out, because you're going to want to shake it, especially if you have any fat in your milk. We usually like 1%, or sometimes we mix and make a 0.5% milk. And you want to shake it as it thaws. Then make sure you wipe this off, cross out your date, and put the date that it thawed on with a Sharpie marker. You have it now, it'll be good for 1 week. Or if you want to, you can write good until and write it a week from the day it thawed out. Your milk will be good for 1 week, kept in the refrigerator, use it as usual, but you will have to shake it every now and then, especially if you have any fat in the milk. Okay, that will save you money when milk goes on sale, so you don't have to pay $5 1 week and $2 another time. You can just stock up on those $2 gallons of milk. Next, buttermilk. We use buttermilk in a lot of recipes, but the problem is we don't use it all the time, so buying even one of these, the buttermilk's going to go bad. It's more expensive to buy the tiny little things, so we want to figure out how we're going to do this. Basically, it's the same thing. Most of my recipes call for buttermilk in 2-cup increments. So I'm going to do, excuse me, if I'm going to do one recipe, it'll usually be 2 cups worth. What I do is then measure out 2 cups, find a container that's a little bit larger than the 2 cups worth, because why? Same reason with the milk. Your molecules will expand as they freeze, and pour it in and freeze it. I've got these labeled so that I can easily take it off and wash the container, but it tells me 2 cups of buttermilk. Then, when I'm ready to use it, I just thaw it out in the refrigerator, usually the night before. It's ready to go for pancakes and biscuits and muffins and waffles all the next day. If you tune into the next one, I'll show you how I use this in a great blender waffle recipe that uses up a lot of leftovers too. Butter is pretty self-explanatory. Stick it in the freezer, take out a stick as you need it. But it freezes. Once it's thawed, it's just like a regular dairy. Last but not least, cheese. Cheese is one of the temperamental things to freeze as a dairy. So, I'll give you a few pointers. You can freeze a gigantous hunk of cheese if you want to. Problem is, most of the harder cheeses like cheddar and Colby, things like that, they're going to crumble once you thaw them out. Same thing with mozzarella. So the best thing to do, unless you don't care that it's crumbled, is go ahead and shred it up or slice it up to freeze it. Now you can shred it, stick it in one of your nicely washed Ziploc bags, and stick it in the freezer. I thaw this out on Friday nights and it'll make at least 4 pizzas for me. Or you can slice it up, but be sure when you slice it, you put a piece of wax paper in between, and this will freeze just fine. It won't crumble up after you've sliced it. The exception might be some cheddar, depending how thick it's sliced. And you can stick this in the freezer too. Basically, it's the same thing. Once you thaw out a dairy, if it's regular dairy like milk or buttermilk, you're good for about a week. So make sure you date things. If it's cheese, it'll last a little bit longer because it's already been aged. I hope you've learned something new. I know a lot of people didn't realize you can do that, especially with milk. We have 8 gallons in the freezer, so whenever I don't feel like buying it, I can just yank it out and let it thaw. And I hope you give it a try. Please subscribe, because the next video is going to be doing some leftover blender waffles. So you'll be surprised at what I throw in a blender and make waffles for. Thanks. Hope you come back. Bye.